I am open to that if you are.
I am.
I've been kind of moving forward with my lawyer. I know Meri has too. And then Kody called me.
He always wants to act like he's such a victim or that everybody's so mean to him or whatever. And he has this shy, pretty wife now, and she's really shy. And she's really pretty. So sorry, I couldn't help it.
Me just really recently and has said, what if I just put us all on all the titles? I'm like, is the sky falling?
Before the camera started rolling, before the interviews and the tears. Silence. A silence that only occurs when something significant is about to happen. For years, Janelle and Meri lived in the shadow of a man who said he was keeping the family together. But in the background, they watched it crumble. Kody Brown once preached about unity, faith, and common dreams. But in real life, everything was different. The family that established its brand of togetherness was now broken, and that crack had a name, Robyn. Symptoms had been sensed by fans for years. The awkward stares, the phony grins, the tension that scripted apologies couldn't cover up. But now Janelle and Meri weren't covering up anything. When filming started on season 20, insiders told us that they noticed something different. Meri was no longer the composed, passive figure that she was, and Janelle, ever the level-headed one, had finally had enough. According to one source familiar with the set, both women arrived prepared to tackle not only the lies, but the individuals perpetrating them. Kody and Robyn believed they still held the reins. They didn't. It began innocently enough. A chat to clear up the air turned into a bombshell. What Janelle and Meri revealed to him that day would destroy the deception Kody had spent years upholding, that he was still the patriarch, still respected, still trusted. And the cameras witnessed it all. The battle didn't start with yelling, it started with the truth. The kind of truth that doesn't need volume, just courage. Meri, after years of silence, finally said what fans had suspected all along. Robyn wasn't just Kody's favorite wife. She was the reason the rest of them lost everything. Janelle backed her up, calm, direct, unshakable. She came with proof, messages, money trails, and memories Kody thought no one would ever bring up again. This wasn't a conversation, it was a takedown. 1 year in the making, and for the first time ever in Sister Wives history, Kody Brown was speechless. It began in the living room of Robyn's Flagstaff home. Cameras were already rolling for a low-key family gathering. At least that is what production had led them to believe. But that afternoon, what occurred was not casual at all. Robyn sat next to Kody, her hands folded, with the look she always wore, contained, guarded, inscrutable. Janelle stood in front of them, arms folded, tension hanging in her stance. Meri was quiet, observing. But her face told a story that words never could. Kody began first. He attempted to modulate the tone. "Let's have an adult conversation," he told her, smiling gruffly. But Janelle wasn't smiling. She leaned forward. "Kody, we've attempted that for years," she told him. "But adults are truthful. You haven't been being that." Kody grew confused at first, then belligerent. "What truth?" he demanded. That is when Meri finally broke the silence. Her voice was calm. "The truth about why Coyote Pass isn't selling. The real story behind who is really calling the shots." Robyn shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Her mask slipped for the first time. Production sources indicate the room went silent as a tomb. You may be able to hear the camera rig creak as it leaned in closer. Janelle sucked in her breath, then explained what she'd uncovered. Bank statements with payments connected to Robyn's personal accounts, sluggish paperwork for which only she had the code, and a message that Kody sent weeks before stating, "Robyn doesn't believe it is the right time to sell." Kody's expression shifted in an instant, from confusion to alarm. He glared at Robyn, waiting for her to say something. She didn't. That is when Meri spoke up. "You've lied to us all, Kody. You said the land was a family resource, but you gave control to one individual, her." Robyn's eyes welled up, but not with guilt, with anger. She breathed something barely loud enough to hear. "That is not true." But everyone in the room sensed it. She was shaken. The discussion went off the rails quickly. Kody attempted to justify himself, laying the blame on bad communication, accusing the family of overreacting. But not this time, because Janelle had prepared, and what she testified next, live on tape, would reveal more than deception. It would disclose the actual motivation behind Robyn's battle to keep the property from being sold. Janelle didn't come to fight. She arrived armed, producing from her purse a small pile of folders, color-coded, tabbed, and bursting with papers she'd been secretly gathering for months. Production sources later described it as a courtroom moment, serene, measured, and not to be ignored. Janelle opened the first folder. "This is the land records for Coyote Pass," she said, pushing copies across to Kody and Robyn. "Each of these features your signatures. Not mine, not Meri's. You two are the only lawful owners on half of the parcels." Kody's eyes blinked. "That is not new, Janelle, we discussed." But she interrupted him. "No, Kody. You said we all shared an equal claim." "That is what you told the cameras. That is what you told us. But it is not true. These documents prove it." Robyn stared at the papers but didn't touch them. Her lips pressed tight, her eyes darting toward Kody, waiting for him to fix it. He didn't. Instead, Kody leaned back and sighed. "You don't understand how complicated this is. The taxes, the Meri stepped in. Number we understand perfectly. You made it complicated so no one else could question you." That's when Janelle reached for the second folder, the one that made Robyn's face go pale. "These are payments made from the family account," Janelle said. "More than $40,000 in the last year, all for improvements and maintenance on your parcel." Robyn, meanwhile, the rest of us had been told the family fund was drained. The air-stilled Kody massaged his temples. Robyn's voice broke. "I didn't request that, Janelle. Kody deals with those things." But Janelle didn't blink. "You didn't prevent it either." Cameras panned in every eye blink, every muscle spasm recorded live. Meri finally sat forward. "So tell us, Kody, was this about family, or was it always about keeping her secure?" No one said a word. What began as a battle had escalated to revelation, the moment years of silent resentment became truth. And this was just the tip of the iceberg. After Janelle's bombshell, the room remained static. No one spoke. The only noise was the soft hum of the lights above. Then, one by one, Robyn pulled back her chair. She didn't yell, she didn't need to. The look on her face spoke volumes. "Are you recording this?" she snapped. The producer shook his head. "Stop it," she instructed. But they didn't. What would happen next would go down as one of the most infamous moments in Sister Wives history. Robyn's voice changed from a fragile whisper to an angry screech. "You are trying to make me into the villain once again," she said, looking back and forth between Janelle and Meri. "You don't have a clue what Kody and I go through on a daily basis. You've never supported this family the way we have." Meri arched an eyebrow. "Supported? Robyn, you are living in a $900,000 home while the rest of us are leasing." The atmosphere fractured. Robyn got up, finger pointing at the papers laid out on the table. "This is about the show. You want a plot? Fine. Here it is. Blame Robyn." That's what everyone does when things go wrong. But Janelle didn't back down. "No, Robyn, this isn't about the show. This is about the truth. We've all made sacrifices, but you've been protected. By Kody, by TLC, by everyone. And we're done pretending it's fair." Kody tried to cut in. "You don't understand the stress I'm under, Janelle, the taxes, the legal pressure." But she stopped him cold. "Then stop blaming everybody else and tell the truth." Cameras captured Kody's expression, red tense, on the verge of shattering, and that is when Robyn lost it. "You are not saints, Janelle. You are just angry because you lost control." The room fell silent once more. Even the producers remained still. For years, Robyn had portrayed the serene, measured wife, the one who had attempted to keep everybody together. But that facade was shed now. What viewers would go on to witness in the episode wasn't mere anger. It was fear. Because Robyn knew that the truth Janelle had brought with her couldn't be cut out of the footage. The family had crossed a boundary, one they couldn't turn back from. And when production ended that day, Robyn made a call that fundamentally altered everything. Hours following the argument, cameras were no longer rolling. The house was peaceful, but Robyn wasn't finished. Sources on the production team later confirmed that Robyn placed a call, not to Kody, not to relatives, but to an individual who works at TLC's. She wanted the footage removed. The show, she said, would hurt the family irreparably. But insiders claimed the demeanor of her call wasn't one of protection. It was about control. According to a former crew member, Robyn's words were clear: if that scene airs, we're finished. I'll sue if I have to. The network's response: silence. They'd heard threats before, but never like this. The next morning, a producer called Janelle. He informed her what Robyn had done, and it was then that Janelle made her move. She collected all of the messages, all of the emails, all of the financial documents she'd saved over the years. Evidence, she asserted, that Robyn and Kody had manipulated both the family and the show. Meri joined her the same day. The two hadn't been friends for long, but this was something else. They consulted with a lawyer, and when the news reached Kody, the response was catastrophic. Kody stormed out of Coyote Pass that evening. Neighbors heard yelling. Something about betrayal and contracts. He was trapped. He'd had the story bottled up for years, but now, his own wives were ready to reveal the very foundation of his empire. The production staff knew this was gold, but they were tiptoeing. Darkness. TLC had a choice to make: defend Kody and Robyn, or show the truth. And here is the catch. They went with the truth. By Friday evening, editors had a quick cut of the episode, and Robyn's call was included. Not the sound, but the aftermath. Seeing her tears, her distress, her desperation to Kody to make it go away. It was reality television at its most unvarnished. When the preview clip leaked on social media, Sister Wives fans lost their minds. Number Team Janelle began trending hours later. It was broadcast on a Sunday evening. Fans assumed it would be another typical Sister Wives episode. A bit of conflict, some tense family moments, and perhaps some crying. But this one was different from the first scene. The show began with Janelle sitting in silence, clutching a pile of papers. Then, one by one, the confessional clips started playing. Meri's voice cracked firsts. We believed in something that wasn't real anymore. Then Janelle, you can't build trust on secrets. For 12 years, Sister Wives had built its success on controlled chaos drama that simmered but never boiled over. This time, it boiled. When Robyn appeared on screen, fans noticed everything: her trembling hands, her forced smile, the quick glances off camera. She was no longer the calm peacemaker. She appeared cornered, and the internet blew up. Within an hour of its broadcast, Reddit comment threads were filled with screenshots. Viewers analyzed every line, every expression. One fan posted, "Robyn's crying, but it is guilt, not grief." Another responded, "She is hiding something, or someone." Before the credits rolled, the figures were astronomical. The show drew its largest live viewership since Christine left, and social media activity doubled. But in the back rooms, there was no celebratory mood. Kody was enraged. Insiders say he phoned up TLC executives later that evening and requested a sit-down. He ranted that producers had twisted the truth and were putting the wives against one another for ratings. But the cameras didn't lie. The network defended their move. We air reality. That is the deal. The following day, paparazzi photographed Janelle and Meri showing up at a courthouse in Flagstaff. Their faces were inscrutable, placid, yet intent. Online speculation raged that the women were set to file suit regarding property rights at Coyote Pass. And for the first time in years, fans weren't wondering, what will Kody do next? They were wondering, what will Janelle and Meri reveal next? Kody's studiously crafted persona, the patriarch, the decision maker, the guardian, was cracking in real time. And somewhere, far within that Flagstaff home, Robyn was seeing it all happen in silence. Kody Brown wasn't accustomed to relinquishing control. For years, his voice had the weight of authority, the last word in each argument. But when the episode had aired, something within him broke down, sources close to the family report. He didn't sleep much. He paced for hours in the Flagstaff home, rewinding the episode over and over, mumbling to himself about loyalty and betrayal. By Monday morning, he had an agenda. Kody called a family meeting. Not at the set, not with producers, at Robyn's house. When Janelle and Meri arrived, cameras weren't rolling. But one of the producers later confirmed that the audio recorder was forgotten running, tucked away in a producer's bag. That is how we know what actually did next. Kody started off with a level voice. He said he wanted to clear the air, but the calm didn't last long. "You humiliated this family on television tonight," he growled, his voice rising. "You made fools of us," Janelle countered. "No, Kody. We spoke the truth. That is what you never wanted." He pounded his hand on the table. "You don't know the truth. You only know half of it." Meri remained silent, simply observing him come apart. Kody launched into a lengthy tirade about money, contracts, and fidelity. He called them jealous of Robyn, of plotting to destroy what little cohesion they had left. But Janelle didn't blink. "You ruined it yourself," she told him. "You ceased being our husband when you began to hide stuff." The fight went on for almost 2 hours. Kody's voice was raspy by the end, and Robyn was crying again. After they got up and left, Janelle said something to the crew that still resonates with the fandom today. "He is not fighting for the family anymore. He is fighting to save his reputation." That line was shared online like wildfire. In a day's time, Coda Meltdown was trending, and while the internet analyzed each sentence, TLC quietly made a decision behind the scenes to add 2 weeks of filming. They wanted the aftermath. Meri Brown had been the quiet one for years, the one who smiled with heartache, who remained while others departed, who kept her emotions tidily contained behind courteous phrases and manufactured serenity. But after Kody's blow-up at Robyn's house, something broke in her. Crew members report that she sat in her car for almost an hour after the meeting had concluded. No words, no gesture, just quiet. When she finally reopened her mouth, it wasn't to Kody or Janelle or Robyn. It was to the cameras. She phoned production the following day and asked for a solo confession. When she arrived on the set, everyone knew this wasn't the old Meri they were accustomed to working with. She looked in the camera and said, "I've spent years standing up for Kody. I thought I was defending the family, but I was actually defending his lies." Then she stopped, long enough for the crew to believe she would stop, but she didn't. Robyn knew. She had seen it all, and I remained quiet because I did not want to be the one to ruin what was left. The producer questioned what she was saying. Meri sighed. "The accounts, the land transfers, the deals done in Robyn's name. I have seen the documents. I just didn't get them at the time, now I do." It was the first time ever that Meri had accused Robyn of lying on television. And she did not stop there. She went on to say that over the past several years, Kody had channeled several payments for family expenses through a business only Robyn's name was on. When the producer pressed for an answer, she whispered, "Because he did not want the other wives to know how much he was spending." That statement exploded like a bomb. In days of the confession being filmed, news spread. The tabloids picked it up, the fans argued the laws, and TLC's legal staff allegedly went into high gear to verify each detail. For Meri, however, it wasn't a matter of revenge. "It is about truth," she said to the crew as she rapped. "Someone has to say it before it is too late." And with that, the narrative changed. Meri wasn't the victim in Kody's narrative for the very first time, she was the witness. When the confessional of Meri aired during the teaser for next week's show, Robyn's world began closing in. She had always been the one to keep it together, the teary, calm voice of reason when the other wives fought. But this time, there was no script through which she could cry. The accusation was not just emotional, it was financial, it was evidence. Robyn apparently phoned TLC the second the teaser was released. She pleaded with them to remove her, claiming the story was being manipulated, that she was being singled out, but it was too late. The material was already locked in for broadcast. That evening, a member of the crew said Robyn collapsed in the production office, crying. "They don't understand Kody did what he had to do. He was only trying to defend us." The producer remained quiet, because everyone in the room knew it wasn't about protection anymore. It was about exposure. The following day, Robyn recorded her own confessional. She sat down, red-eyed and shaking, and spoke. "People keep telling me that I am manipulative, that I took everything. But no one saw what we had to go through. The taxes, the show money, the fan threats. I did what I had to do to protect my family." She dabbed at her tears, gazed directly into the camera, and whispered, "If that makes me the bad guy, then so be it." For an instant, the crew held their breath, hoping she would quit there, but she didn't. She went on. Meri can speak about truth all day long, but she wasn't present when Kody was going crazy about the land payments. She didn't observe what that did to him. It was raw, emotional. but it also created more questions than it solved. Viewers who had witnessed preliminary leaks of the confessional indicated that it looked less like honesty and more like panic. And panic was contagious. In backroom meetings, TLC executives were now concerned with legal repercussions. Kody's finances, the ownership of Coyote Pass, and the contracts between the wives, it was all under scrutiny. Robyn's tears had always earned sympathy, but this time, fans didn't see heartbreak, they saw guilt. When the walls started closing in, Kody did what he always did best, tried to take back control of the story. He wasn't going to sit quietly while the world painted him as a fraud, a manipulator, or a failed patriarch. So, he made a move that shocked everyone, including TLC. 2 days before Meri's full confession was set to air, Kody called a press conference. Not an official one, a self-organized live-streamed family statement from his Flagstaff home. He instructed the crew to arrive. Robyn sat next to him, white-knuckled but calm. And with that same assertive voice viewers had listened to for more than a decade, Kody began speaking. "There's been a lot of misinformation," he said. "People don't understand what really goes into building a plural family. They watch edited clips and believe they know the truth, but they don't." He accused the editing, the narrative, even outside influences. But then, in his effort to clear himself, Kody uttered words he shouldn't have. He confirmed that some payments for family needs had been routed through a private account for tax purposes. The instant he spoke it, Robyn's face went cold. That one statement verified what Meri had suggested, and fans noticed immediately. Clips from the livestream flooded TikTok within minutes. Lawyers on social media started breaking down the implications. Comments poured in, "He just confessed on camera." "Kody, stop talking. You're digging your own grave." By the next morning, the video had over 2 million views and was quietly taken down, but the damage was already done. Inside TLC, panic spread. The legal team reportedly called an emergency meeting to review Kody's statement. The network's concern wasn't just about bad press anymore, it was liability. Meanwhile, Janelle and Meri watched it unfold in disbelief. Janelle reportedly texted a producer, "He just proved everything we've been saying." For Kody, it was supposed to be a redemption moment, his chance to set the record straight. It became the clip that changed everything. Kody had always thought he was the show, that Sister Wives couldn't survive without him. His leadership, his voice, his narrative. But after that live stream, TLC didn't see things the same way. Within a 24-hour period from his broadcast, a meeting was summoned at headquarters for the network. Executives, producers, legal counsel, everyone in one room. They played back Kody's live stream, stopping each time he said money or private accounts. Every word mattered now. According to an insider, one executive said, "If this goes public, we're not covering for him again." And that marked the beginning of the network's quiet rebellion. ATLC decided to move forward with a special episode, one that didn't center on Kody's version of events. Instead, it would focus on the wives. The concept was simple: Janelle, Meri, and even Christine back together for a sit-down interview. No Kody, no filters, just their truth. When the concept reached Kody, he blew up. He phoned the producers, yelling that the show was turning into a smear campaign. He threatened to quit, claiming they couldn't broadcast anything without his consent. But in fact, he was mistaken. TLC owned the film. The following week, a promo landed online, brooding music, dim lighting, the wives on the couch with the headline, "Sister Wives, the truth they couldn't tell until now." Fans lost it within hours. The teaser reached 1 million views. People were commenting, "Finally, we get the real story." This is the episode Kody didn't want us to see. Kody and Robyn watched the trailer together in private. Witnesses claim Kody's face blanched. He knew the tables had turned, not only in his family, but also in the show he'd based his life upon. Robyn pleaded with him to remain calm, to let it pass, but he couldn't. He recognized it for what it was, the start of the end of his reign. And as production's premiere date for The Truth, they couldn't tell crept closer. Even his friends in production began to distance themselves. The patriarch was the issue now. It was the episode that fans were waiting for. Sister Wives, the truth they couldn't tell. No Kody, no filters. No softening of the punches. Just three women, Janelle Meri and Christine, for the first time in years sitting together. When the cameras began to roll, there was no sweeping music, no smiles, just silence. Christine was the first to speak. She told her she left because she could not stay under a man who used love as a business agreement. The audience was quiet. Then Janelle leaned forward, fingers interlaced, gentle but fierce. "People ask why we lasted so long," she said. "The honest answer is, we believed in something that didn't exist anymore. And while we thought Kody and Robyn created something else, something only they had power over." The interviewer requested she elaborate. On that, the bombshell went off. Janelle produced a document folder. She never mentioned names, but she didn't need to. The camera focused in, blacked out figures, legal documents, property forms. She added, "This is evidence that Coyote Pass was never supposed to be shared. The property we labored for, the finances we left in Kody's care, it all accumulated in one account, Robyn's account," gasped from the audience. Christine placed a hand on Janelle's arm, stabilizing her as she went on. "I am not saying this out of revenge," Janelle spoke quietly. "I am saying this because for years, I convinced myself that love would make it right. But love can't undo greed." Next was Meri's turn. She didn't have papers, just her words. "I was complicit in the lie," she said. "I knew what was going on, but I didn't want to admit I'd wasted half my life pursuing someone who'd fallen out of love with me a long time ago." The host sat stunned. Even the crew behind the cameras didn't budge. When the episode aired, fans lit up every social media platform imaginable. Hashtags went crazy. Number Team Janelle, number Justice for Meri, number They're all sister wives. Teaser clips from the show accumulated millions of hits within a single night. Off camera, however, the backlash was pandemonium. Kody allegedly destroyed his phone upon seeing the teaser clips going viral on YouTube. He blamed TLC, Robyn, and the wives all at once, and when producers reached out for a reaction interview, he refused. "You'll regret crossing me," he said before hanging up. The tell-all had changed everything. The wives weren't just breaking their silence, they were taking their story back. And for the first time in over a decade, the world wasn't watching Kody Brown's family fall apart. They were watching the women rebuild without him. After the tell-all aired, Kody and Robyn disappeared. They stopped answering producers. Their phones turned off. Cameras that trailed them every day were removed from Flagstaff. Weeks passed. No posts, no updates, no Browns whatsoever. Until one morning, an audio recording popped up. It wasn't a video, just audio, rough, shuddery. Obviously taped from within a home, the video was brief, just 2 minutes at most, but what it recorded put the Sister Wives fan base into meltdown. You can hear Kody walking back and forth furious, his voice ringing out in what appears to be their living room. Then Robyn's voice, softer, shaking, saying, "We can't keep blaming them. You said you'd fix this." Kody retorts, "I didn't know they'd turn on us, Robyn. You said they wouldn't," she answers. "I instructed you to quit lying in front of the cameras." Then silence, palpable, long and last. Kody speaks, low but distinct. "We built everything on that property. If they take it, it is finished. Everything." The recording stopped there. No context, no reason. But enough to make sure what fans had suspected all along, that beneath the tears and the justifications, Robyn and Kody were fighting to save something much greater than love. When the leak reached Reddit, it went off the charts. Fans analyzed every second, attempting to authenticate the voices. Others insisted it was faked. Others took an oath that it was identical to clips of Kody's previous interviews. TLC made no comment publicly, but a so-called insider from production allegedly attested the audio to be genuine, caught on a mic test months prior. The news was harsh. Kody had been complaining about being edited. Robyn accused the family of turning against her unjustly. But now there was evidence. They knew what was going on. They were only attempting to keep up with the breakdown. The network acted quickly. The leaked audio became the focal point of a new special entitled Secrets of Coyote Pass, the final chapter. But viewers didn't view it as an ordinary show moment. They viewed it as the truth finally seeping through the cracks. Even longtime fans who previously had Kody's back were finished. One comment summed it up perfectly. "We watched this man build an empire on camera, and now we're watching him burn it down in real time." Kody and Robyn, now completely isolated, reportedly stopped filming entirely. The story of the Browns was never really about polygamy. It was about power control, and what happens when a family stops being a family and becomes a brand. When Sister Wives first aired, Kody was confident, smiling. "A man who believed his life was a testimony," he said. "We're showing the world love through plural marriage." But years later, love was replaced by resentment. Laughter became silence. And Coyote Pass, the place where everyone was meant to come together, was the battlefield that tore everything apart. In the weeks since the leaked audio, Janelle and Meri allegedly met again with TLC producers. People who were close to the production say they signed on to shoot a brief sit-down interview, not to badger Kody, but to provide closure. The final scene was shot on the deserted piece of Coyote Pass. The camera sweeps across the snow, covered terrain, and there, off in the distance, is Janelle. Then Meri, no sign of Kody. No Robyn. For the first time, the wives who had once shared a husband shared only the truth. In her interview, Meri says, "We tried to make it work. We believed in him, but love without accountability isn't love, it is control." Then Janelle adds, "I stayed too long, but I learned something. When you build your life around someone else's dream, you lose yourself. I am done losing myself." Their voices don't shake. They're calm, measured. Free. As the credits roll on the screen, a message reads, "The Brown family refused to show up for further filming. It is silent, no voice, over."